Hello and welcome to my review of the Kratos Heavy Assault Tank for Legiones Astartes Warhammer the Horus Heresy from Games Workshop. Now this tank will cost you £75, but it does consist of 233 plastic components. That's a fair amount of plastic right there, and this was one of the models and kits I was most looking forward to out of the whole range. Brand new tank, brand new parts, haven't really seen the likes of this before. It shares a lot of similarities with the Sakharin. It's just a heavy assault tank, whereas the Sakharin would be an assault tank. The format of this video, as always, will be that I will look at this miniature, this tank, up close and personal. I'll talk a little bit about it. Then we'll go through spare parts, where you do get a nice bag of spare parts, a decent number. Then I will go through the size comparisons with firstly other tanks such as Sakharins, Rhinos, Spartans and Fellblades, with some comparisons with kind of troop choices. So the first thing I want to say is thank you so much for your patience of waiting for me to get this review out. I could have reviewed it earlier, but there were many other videos that I needed to put out first. So thank you for your patience. It is a long time coming. And the second thing I wanted to say is, if you really like this tank and you want to have fun in your games and you don't want to sort of like win all the time and things, and you just want to get it because it looks cool on the battlefield and things, or it looks cool in your collection, do it. Whatever makes you happy. It's your choice at the end of the day. Try not to let anyone sort of dissuade you of not getting it because it's not worth the best points cost in an army, or it doesn't have a specific, you know, function, or it's going to just be blasted off the table. I mean, if you like something and you like the tank, just go for it. I'll address all the other points about its effectiveness and points and things a little bit later on in the review. But the first thing I want to say about this tank is I am quite biased. I absolutely love this tank. I think it's fantastic. I get very excited about tanks and new tanks as well. So when this was first revealed, I thought, wow, this is, you know, it shares some aesthetics between a Fellblade and a Sakharin. It's got a nice number of weapons on there. We haven't really seen much of the, you know, top hull-mounted weapons before. So that's a great addition. And I also was interested in the sort of dozer blade as well, see how that worked. So let's have a look at this miniature then, up close and personal. Already, you know, you don't have to go over the top with magnets. Currently, this isn't magnetized at all. No magnets on it. The turret itself, you can kind of get away with having this loose, but it would be this and this that would need to be loosed. So there's it's a bit tricky there, because to get this out, you need to have this detachable as well. So just bear that in mind if you're thinking about going for the different cannon options. I've gone for, I say, the weaker cannon options. You know, Volkite with its armor penetration and things isn't the best at killing Space Marines. It's, you know, better suited to sort of Imperium or Mechanicum, but still I've got it for the sort of Volkite factor. Historically, I've never really had much Volkite weapons in the army, so I thought I'd bump them up by giving it the main Volkite weapon, which is called the Volkite Cardinal, which is a little bit different than the carronade of the glaive. In fact, it's much shorter. But that's what I've gone for. I've gone for a combi Volkite on the top as well, which, you know, is what it is. Obviously, it's got the coaxial autocannon. I've gone for the Volkite calivers here, and I've also gone for the Volkite culverins. Volkite serpentas, which are the pistols, Volkite chargers, which are kind of like the plasma guns, the Volkite calivers, which are the heavy versions, and then you've got the culverins, which are even heavier sort of versions. So this is the tank itself then. You could possibly magnetize the dozer blade, you know. That is a possibility, but you'd have to kind of, you know, hide the magnets somehow. Not fully sure how you'd do that. You could probably put them underneath there, maybe. Put some green stuff, hide them, if you didn't want to have the dozer blade on all the time. I've done so with this one. For the melter and the battle cannon, the other two that I have not gone for the dozer blade. I've left that off, but I just wanted to for this because I say it's close range. You know, these weapons are normally 40 inches, and actually it'd probably be better me putting it on the melter, but that's just what I've gone for this. Now, a little piece about the sponsons. They are fantastic. I think they've done a brilliant job in these, and you being able to kind of hot swap them. They answer so many questions that I had of them, such as they kind of rotate, they traverse, and you can detach them for transportation or swapping the sponsons around. Which is really purely optional, because, you know, if you had another one of these with heavy bolters in, which I haven't glued these by the way, you could swap all those weapons around. So the ability to swap it over, I mean, put it this way, I can then put these Volkite onto the you know, battle cannon version or the melter version if I wished. You know, have them not with the dozer blade, for instance. These Volkite calivers, they are a nice tight fit. You can easily put in a magnet in there and jam a magnet all the way through there as well if you wish, or even, you know, blank that little plate out and then drill in and put a small magnet and have these flush so that they just you know, attach without putting the plug in. But I think they go in pretty firmly. They do move up and down as well, which is amazing when you think about it. Yeah, just fantastic kit. It's my favourite kit so far, I have to say. So like I said, if you're on the fence of getting one, just don't be. Just, you know, take the plunge. You'll really enjoy building this kit, and it'll look fantastic in your army. So that's all I wanted to say about the sort of kit in general. Let's have a look at the spare parts. I did say you get a big bag full of them, and they are all here. So we'll get them all out for your viewing pleasure. So you can already see the different kind of cannon options. This is the melter, or should I say the melter blast gun. So that would go there, and that is a fair bit longer. And my other one, I've equipped it with this, with a multi-melter on the top and with las cannons. It's a pure tank hunting, you know, menace. And then you've got the actual Kratos battle cannon, which has some very, very nice, decent shells that it can use. And you can just see how long that cannon would be on it. So there's that. You also get a number of other sponsored weapons other than the Volkite culverins. You get heavy bolters, heavy flamers, or las cannons. It's a shame you don't get any plasma with this tank, but never mind. Also, these top turret mounted weapons, instead of the Volkite, you can have hull mounted Volkite calivers. You can have the auto cannons, heavy bolters, or las cannons. So my melter, Kratos as I call it, has the las cannon. So yes, you can have like 4 las cannons and the melter and a pintle mounted multi-melter. It's just brilliant. It really is amazing. And then likewise my battle cannon one has all heavy bolters, so I've gone for maximum shooting and kind of like a sniper tank really, because I'm, you know, not a long range sniper, but I've gone for the actual cannon to do most of the legwork, and then the point defense weapons for any kind of troops. So these are all the spare parts. As you can see, you get the las cannons there, which are lovely. Sort of try and find you the other sides of them. probably with difficulty, but yes, that goes on. Something like that. So what that means is you can't really hot swap the weapons themselves, but you know, if you do get a second or third one, you can definitely swap around these sponsons. You have to pick the same per side. You can't have like a smorgasbord of different sponson weapons, like a las cannon here and a heavy bolter there, and also it'd look a bit odd if you did that. Here is the now famous sort of Deimos Rhino vehicle accessory sprue that you get with all rhinos, and it is worth its weight in gold. It's worth getting a rhino just for this extra sprue. I can't praise enough about this, because it's got all kinds of different extras and upgrades and multi-melters, heavy bolters. You know, I hope that they sell that sprue separately at some point, because if you've got any older Space Marine vehicles, you may want to equip them with multi-melters and things. These are the autocannons. Not a massive fan of the way these look, especially on this tank either, so I didn't bother with them. You get your hunter killer missiles, which I didn't equip. You get your smoke launchers, you get your searchlights, your pintle combi other weapons. You even get Space Marine in Mark II Crusade armor. Very important, this chap. So you can have him popping out. He looks great. I like the armor. I mean, I like the armor. You get a helmetless version as well. He's just barking orders, I guess. Yeah, so yeah, a decent number of extras and options and things here. You'll have plenty of spare parts. You may even be able to find a way of, you know, magnetizing this top gun and, you know, hot swapping it. Then you only need to really get one kit. You just got to be mindful of obviously the sponsor weapons you choose, but you can't really go wrong with you know, las cannons. So there are all the spare parts. As you can see, a decent chunk of them. Okay, on to the part of the video that you've probably all been waiting for, and that's why you've clicked on this video. Is my now legendary size comparisons. I'm not just going to give you a size comparison with like a Praetor from the box set, or even the, you know, separate Rhino that's about. I'm going to give you some decent size comparisons here, guys, and that's what I pride myself on with this channel and these videos. So the first size comparison I like to make, let's start off big, guys. Let's give you a Mastodon. So here is my Mastodon. It's a truly epic sized vehicle, completely dwarfs the Kratos there in height, and it is also wider as well. You know, remember the Mastodon does have, I think, 3 floors in it, so you know, there is that. Yeah, it's huge compared to a Kratos. Very big, very heavy. I will be picking up a second one in the next month or so, so hopefully you'll be able to see both of them in action. But yeah, that's where it stands next to a Mastodon, just in case you're gonna pick up one of the 2 of these. You know, I just thought that'd be a useful comparison there. Then next to another tank, a little bit smaller than a Mastodon, I think, but this is where it shares a lot of its similarities, along with like the Sakaran, which will be coming up very shortly in this comparison. But if we just go to show, if it just goes to show that, you know, the Fellblade, which I think is about 200 pounds or so, compared to the, you know, 75 pounds Kratos tank, yeah, this is obviously, again, fair bit higher. The turret itself is pretty much, I want to say, almost, well, yeah, without including the dozer blade, it is bigger than the tank, the actual, just the turret. But yeah, huge tank. Nice to see, you know, 3 of these accompanying the 3 super heavies that I have. So that's where it stands next to a Fellblade. Next comparison is from the box set itself, which is the Spartan. So you probably got your Age of Darkness box set and you wanted to know, you know, oh, is this Kratos bigger? Well, it is longer, and I'd say the Spartan's a little bit wider, just a little bit, and the Spartan is just a little bit taller, just there. And I would say that the Kratos is just a tiny bit taller, just on this peak bit, but the majority of the Spartan is taller, like the tracks and things. So I hope that's helped, sort of understanding if you were going to get a Kratos, it might not be, I'd say, as big as you'd think, but the Spartan is a big tank. It's pretty much almost a super heavy. It's close to being one. So there you go, that's it next to a Spartan. It looks good accompanying a Spartan, or 2 of them accompanying a Spartan. We're getting a little bit smaller now in comparisons. So this is the Sikaran, which I think is what the Kratos is sort of based on. This is the Omega pattern with those beautiful big, you know, plasma, Omega plasma array there. And as you can see, it's kind of a similar height to the Sikaran, but it's just longer. It's got those longer tracks. The Sikaran is of course faster, and is a, you know, an actual assault tank. It's got the same, I say, sized sponson weapons, and it's got 1 kind of defensive weapon there instead of the 2 that the heavy assault tank has. And also weaponry wise, it's very similar weaponry. I mean, this Omega plasma array is the same range as, you know, the battle cannon or the melter on the Kratos. That's where I think the Kratos is lacking a little bit in its ranged weaponry. I would have liked to have seen the Kratos battle cannon having a longer range, like 48-inch range or something. You know, considering it is the main weapon, it's a bit, say, frustrating in a way that you can equip it with the 4 las cannons and all of them will be much longer range than the top main weapon. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing. Melter, I understand that being 36, but the actual long battle cannon only being 36, nah, I think that should be 48 minimum. At the end of the day, the Fellblade Accelerator autocannon is 100 this one right here is 100-inch range. What you're paying for though is of course the armor. You know, it's got 14 armor all around. It is pretty odd that it's got the same armor as a Spartan. I would have probably given it 14, 13, 12, or maybe even 14, 13, 12. But still, there is that. And of course the Sikaran is 6 inches faster. And if we're comparing it to the normal Sikaran, it's actually 110 points cheaper as well. But it's up to you. Usage may vary. I still think on the battlefield people will pick Dreadnoughts over Sikarans, but it depends who you're going up against. And then the final size comparison I'd like to make is with a very small, but can transport 12 Space Marines apparently, Deimos pattern Rhino. Now these look so cute next to a number of things. I mean, obviously the Saber tank is a little bit smaller. Yeah, you have a number of these Rhinos, all backed up by one Big Daddy Kratos, and it's going to look very fun. Nice narrative there. Having your like mechanized infantry going about their orders. So, keeping on the size comparisons just for a moment, I wanted to do a comparison with a couple of dreadnoughts. Here is a Leviathan Dreadnought, a Dark Angels one, and that's where it will stand. It just goes to show just how big these Leviathan Dreadnoughts are. I do have a number of them, but of course they're all going to be the same size. I still think that looks really, really awesome with them, but that's how the Kratos measures up to one of these Leviathans. And remember, the Leviathans, you know, the plastic ones at least are, you know, £47.50. So, you know, over £25 cheaper than an actual Kratos. Compared to a Contemptor, here's the plastic one from the Age of Darkness set. Ignore the weapon loadout. Yeah, that's where an actual Contemptor lies. So they're not too small really, you know, get a few of them there. More kind of size comparisons, troop choices and things. Let's just compare it to a Primarch. Here is the Lion. His cape is in the dry cleaners at the moment, so that's where Kratos stands up next to a Primarch, next to a Mark 6 Space Marine, and next to a Cataphractii, so a Terminator. That's where Kratos stands. So yeah, it looks good surrounded by you know 10 or 20 Mark 6s, and a number of Terminators would also look good near it. Then you've got some 40k miniatures, why not? So you've got standard Space Marine, which, yeah, it dwarfs. Primaris look alright with it. I mean, you can use this in 40k, so there is that. And then you've got Sly Marlbow too. So that's hopefully all of those size comparisons. You can find something there, you know, that you're kind of familiar with, even if it's just like a normal Space Marine. But there's a Praetor as well. I mean, these Praetors are massive anyway, these ones, but they are in sort of bespoke artificer armour, I guess. Yeah, so that's where it stands up. Hopefully those size comparisons have helped. This is usually my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules, but I just wanted to have a bit of a shout out about these instructions. They are lovely instructions. Yes, they're in the black and white, and we've been spoilt by having them in colour, but they are CAD. They're very clear. Sometimes you'll get a couple of misnumberings. I noticed that in, I think, the Contemptor, or maybe even the Spartan kit, but nothing, I say, game breaking, to use that term. I think it's fantastic that they go through each weapon, sponsor weapon, and they name it as well. And you know, where to glue, where not to glue, the options, and they do that for all of the weapons. They tell you not to glue the main weapon there, which, you know, you can kind of get away with that, but if you want your weapon to sit at a particular angle, you can always glue it. They say don't glue on the turret, which I guess is a good idea, because then you can rotate it and things, and it looks cool. They go through every single sponsor weapon. They have a name for them all, you know, all those four. They even go through some of the options as well. From the upgrade sprue, you've got 3 different heads for the guy popping out, holding the pintle, how to sort of, you know, put the pintle on as well, which, you know, I have on my melter one. You've got the different combi weapons, and they're all named. It's just, and then goes through a full section of the Dozer Blade as well. I mean, it's just a fantastic guide. That's why I've kept this one for a little while, just to, you know, show you guys and explain that it's a real joy to put together. And as I said, my favourite Horus Heresy kit so far. The Leviathan is a close second though. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Kratos. Now, as I mentioned at the very start of the video, you might not, you know, want to pick this vehicle to win you lots of games. It probably won't. It will get you know, sniped off the board by your opponent's even 5-man or 10-man las cannon squad, or ripped apart by a Contemptor or Leviathan. But it's a cool looking tank, and it's got a decent amount of damage output. So let's get on with it then. It is a heavy support choice. You'll find it in your brand new Liber Astartes or Hereticus Codex, rulebook, whatever you want to call them. It will cost you 300 points. So straight away, 300 points without any upgrades. It's a big chunk of money sat there for something that only has, I say 5 wounds, 5 hull points. What do you get for these 300 points? Well, you get a movement of 10 inches, which isn't the best. It means that it's slower than a Spartan, and it's way slower by almost 50% than a Sakaran. Sakaran is 16-inch movement, but it is not as slow as a Leviathan Dreadnought. So you could stick it in reverse and try and escape one of those. And it's even faster than a Contemptor. So, if you have to get weapons around the board quick with a decent amount of armour, then this is a good way of moving that weapons platform about. It's faster than a Deredio and a Contemptor and a Leviathan. So whatever weapons it does have, it can get them there a bit quicker than those platforms. So you get a ballistic skill of 4, so that's a 3+ to hit. You get armour value of 14, 14, 14. I'm not sure about this one. I mean, it is a heavy assault tank. I would have kept the Land Raider Spartan at 14 all round, but maybe not give this one all 14. It seems a bit much to give like a main battle tank that much armour. Put it in perspective, that big chunk of resin, the Mastodon that I just showed you, also has the same armour. But yet the Falchion, Glaive and Fellblade have worse armour. They have 13 at the side and 12 at the rear. And I actually don't see that much difference in the rear of these tanks. So you've got 1 Legion Kratos. The war gear, you've got a turret mounted Kratos battle cannon with AP and HE shells. I guess that's armour penetration and high explosive shells. You've got coaxial mounted autocannon. A hull front left mounted heavy bolter, hull front right mounted heavy bolter, 2 sponsor mounted heavy bolters, smoke launchers. It's a reinforced vehicle, and special rules is it's a Legiones Astartes. Options: a Legion Kratos squadron may take up to 1 additional Legion Kratos at 285 points each. So if you choose to have 2, you are going to save 15 points, whoop-de-doo, on a second one. Unless they're kitted out exactly the same, I can't see much of a benefit, because they are both going to do different things. But it's nice to have 2 in 1 slot. Any Legion Kratos may upgrade its Kratos battle cannon with the following: flashburn shells. It's only 10 points and it's definitely worth doing. The flashburn shells, I'll go through its weaponry in a moment. And the flashburn shells are definitely worth that upgrade for 10 points. Any Legion Kratos may exchange its Kratos battle cannon for one of the following: a turret mounted Volkite Cardinal for free and a turret mounted Melter blast gun for free. Good that you don't have to pay any more points for that. It may exchange both its hull front left and hull front left mounted heavy bolters with one of the following options: a Volkite Calivers, autocannons, las cannons. So you've got 4 different weapons there for those hull mounted weapons. It may exchange both its sponsor mounted heavy bolters for one of the following: 2 heavy flamers for free. The Volkite Calivers are 5 points, the autocannons are 10, and the las cannons are 25 points. It may exchange both its sponsor mounted weapons, it's the heavy bolters, for 2 sponsor mounted heavy flamers for free, Volkite culverins for 15 points, and mounted las cannons for 25 points. So already this is adding up the points. You've paid an extra 10 points for the flashburn, you've paid an extra 50 points for the las cannons, so we're already at 360. You may take one of the following pintle weapons, so the twin linked bolter, combi weapon. So the twin linked bolter for 5 points, combi weapons for 10, heavy bolter for 10, heavy flamer for 5, multi-melter for 20, havoc launcher for 15, and you may also take hunter killer missile for 5, flare shield for 50, searchlights for 5, and a dozer blade for 10. Now the flare shield might be worth it because it's reducing the strength of the shooting attacks by its front armour by -1, so obviously any las cannons that hit it, instead of them glancing at a 5+, you're going to be needing 6s to even glance it, so that massively bumps up its survivability, but it is expensive. I mean, to go for my kind of full sniper, now to go for my full melter sniper tank with the las cannons and things, my Kratos would be costing 420 points. If I chose the cannon with the flashburn shells, that'd be 430 points, you know, with a pintle mounted heavy, with the pintle mounted multi-melter. So it can get pricey, you know, spending 400 points on a single unit that only has 5 hull points. Yes, and has I say a maximum range of 48 inches with the las cannons. You know, there's quite a few other things. I mean, put it this way, you've got 4 las cannons on that thing, you know, for 400 points. A 10-man heavy support squad with 10 las cannons is going to cost you 300 points. And you're getting 10 las cannons. You could even split that unit into 2 groups of 5 and split your fire. So you could have 5 firing at this one turn and 5 firing at something else. So in a way you're getting more for less, and they can be out of range of the main weapon. So the most you're going to get, the most you're going to be answered with is 4 las cannons maximum, which is obviously still less than a 150 point unit of 5 heavy support squad. So I just wanted to make that illustration there. Your mileage may vary. Let's just talk about those main weapons. So let's talk about the Kratos battle cannon for starters then. The high explosive shells, so range 36 inches, strength 8, AP 4, heavy 1, large blast 5-inch, pinning. That's all right, you know, it's 5-inch blast and it's pinning. You'll probably be using the AP shells a bit more. They're the same range, same strength, but this time they're AP 2 and they're heavy 2 Sunder. So from 36-inch range, you're going to be blasting apart Terminators, even if they succeed with their 4+ and vulnerables, you're going to be killing them outright because of the strength being double the toughness. The flashburn shells are always worth the upgrade if you're going for the battle cannon. They're slightly shorter range though, which does open it up to charges from dreadnoughts and, you know, other close combat squads. 24-inch range this time, but it is a strength 10 and it is AP 1 and it's heavy 1, armor bane, gets hot. So you run the risk of kind of knocking off a hull point on your own tank, and to get that armor bane you have to be 12 inches or closer, which is incredibly close for a tank that I say can only move 10 inches a turn. It's not that bad, but yeah, I would have preferred that to be the same range as the other shells, and the other shells be 48-inch range. It's really bizarre that the battle cannon has a shorter range than the Predator autocannon. I mean, just comparing the Predator autocannon there, you know, to the high explosive shells, you're getting extra 12 inches. It's the same strength, same AP, but you're getting 4 shots and it's rending 6+. So although you don't get that blast and pinning, you can rend things. You're getting the 4 shots at a longer range. The other weapon, which I have on my other Kratos, is the Melter Blast Gun, currently one of the strongest melter weapons in the game. It's a 36-inch range, strength 8, AP 1, heavy 4, armor bane. So yeah, that means you need to be 18 inches to get use of that armor bane, but it's a solid straight up 4 shots. And then the final weapon, which is what I've equipped mine with, is the Volkite Cardinal. Now that is a 45-inch range, really odd ranges, these Volkite weapons, they're kind of odd numbers. Strength 7, which is alright. You're not going to be killing Space Marines outright though. It's AP 5 and it's heavy 12, deflag rate and pinning. So you could be pinning them, you've got the deflag rate, which basically means any number of unsaved wounds caused on the target, you get a number of automatic hits on the same unit using the weapons profile equal to the number of unsaved wounds, and then they can be saved normally. So you get a chance there of knocking off even more wounds on unsaved, which might happen, you know, with 12 shots. And so that is the final main weapon that this Kratos can be equipped with. I've just gone for this kind of fluffy Kratos with the all the Volkite, just because I think it looks cool. Obviously I've gone for more of a competitive, it's hard to say that considering it's a sort of 350 point heavy tank, Kratos in the form of the melter version and the battle cannon version with all the las cannons and things. But I do like the options you get with this kit. It's very versatile, you can build it how you wish, it's a fun kit to build, it looks awesome. I think the rules have costed it a bit too high, and again it is a bit odd having that 14 armor all round. You want to be taking that flare shield if you can afford it, just to bump up the survivability. But let's not forget there are better, cheaper options out there in terms of units. What do you guys think of the Kratos Heavy Assault Tank? I think it looks absolutely fantastic, and it's my favourite kit so far. Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.